Sean Payton, head coach of the New Orleans Saints. What's with this Saints Happy podcast? This has to be the worst Saints podcast in the world. Ralph can't say anyone's name right. Andrew doesn't know football. Everyone has a hard time listening to Dave. And is Kevin even there tonight? The audio with this podcast, my God, the audio, it's painful.
All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of Saints Happy Hour podcast. We have a great show for you tonight. We're going to talk about the Saints trade up failure again and other teams saving them from themselves. We're going to talk about their addiction to Raz. We're going to break down every single pick. But first, remember to find us wherever you get your podcast. Rate us, review us, subscribe, give us 5 stars, or don't give us any stars at all. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Support us on Patreon so we can keep paying Thomas in the finest Polish meats and cheeses. Gentlemen, the draft is over. My first thought was, Andrew, the Saints continue to live a charmed life, and all Mickey Loomis's bad ideas cannot come to fruition. They were trying to trade up into the top 10 for either a defensive back or Mac Jones. Either way, it didn't work out. The Saints continue to live a charmed life. What did you think?
Did that come out? Was that like leaked? Like somebody reported that's who they wanted to get, Mac Jones?
Well, Diana Rossini said it was either a non-quarterback or Mac Jones.
The original report.
Yeah, it seemed like there was a lot of conflicting reports on what the Saints were trying to do there in the first round. I mean, we know they were trying to trade up. Who they were trying to get exactly, I assume it was a corner. I assume it was either J.C. Horn or Patrick Surtain. But yeah, we don't really know, and I've seen some stuff that conflict. So who knows?
You assume. I think they were trying to trade up for Ian Book.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so.
We'll get to the individual picks when we break it down.
But no, I just want to say, Ralph, like I do think this draft maybe didn't play out the way the Saints wanted to, and whether they were safe from themselves or whether it felt like it was a little bit a day late and a dollar short with a lot of picks. And for example, in the first round, like would they have taken Greg Newsome had he been there over Peyton Turner? We'll never know, but according to Nick Underhill, Peyton Turner was the number one guy on their board, and he would have been if Newsome was there. So would they have made the Newsome pick? Who knows? Well, I do feel like this draft, I could be wrong, but I feel like there were guys that the Saints wanted that ended up getting picked before they picked. And I think there was several times during the draft where they were left taking guys, not that they were disappointed, but that they were like, ideally, someone else would have fallen to us.
Well, what I've heard, and I don't have the immaculate sauces like Andrew has, but I mean,
they are immaculate.
But what I have heard is that Peyton Turner, and I don't think it's a name thing, but Peyton Turner was like Sean Payton's guy. Like Sean Payton really wanted Peyton Turner, and that everybody in the building didn't necessarily agree that was the best pick to make.
Well, here's the thing, Kevin. We know the Saints are never ever going to trade down, but can you declare victory because they didn't burn any 2022 assets and will have all their picks as of now for next year's draft? Isn't that the Saints version of trading down?
Yes, it's the Saints' version of trading down. However, this is like that meme of that ginger-haired kid where you get like one little sliver of good news up top and then something terrible down below. Saints don't trade up in the first round, and then the bottom part is they draft a third-round prospect with their first overall pick. So,
I mean, they've got all of their 2022 draft picks, right? And then they'll probably also maybe get a compensatory.
They're supposed to get 3 compensatories, 2 thirds and a fifth, and they have all their 2022s beyond that. So that's maybe the biggest win of this draft class.
So
is
that's
that-
you're talking about 10 draft picks next. They have 10 draft picks.
Well,
next year?
we'll see what they
I
trade
know they're
up.
going to get. Well, that's what I'm saying is like they're definitely going to be making moves using those draft picks because there's no way they're going to hold on to 10 draft picks.
No chance.
And obviously, some of them they'll hold on and make moves on draft day next year, but some of those they will also use to make moves.
I think Mickey Loomis
between
is
now and-
bitter that he could trade into the top 10, and so he's like, next year it's going to be on like Donkey Kong.
Okay. All right. I tell you what. I've got a Ralph Marlboro over under on that. Over under on the number of draft day picks that the Saints have in 2022, and I'll set the over under at 5.5.
Oh, I'll take the over. It's at 10 now. I'll take the over.
Okay,
take-
6.5.
I mean, one of these years,
that's good.
the Mickey Loomis trade gun, the trade up gun, he's gonna fire it, and he's gonna get like a team is not that like a team's gonna say, okay, Mickey, give us everything to move to 7 or 6 or whatever the hell. I mean, like he lives a charmed life. I mean, you think about it. They were gonna draft Reuben Foster. They were gonna trade Cleveland Brown cap space and a 2nd-round pick for Jadeveon Clowney, and Mickey Loomis just skips through the raindrops of disaster each and every time. I mean, one of these times, Andrew, the Saints are going to have a horrible, horrible idea, and it's going to blow up in their face. Like,
You mean like Jarris Bird?
yeah, that wasn't a draft pick though.
You mean like
I was
Zach Bond?
uh,
Stanley Arno.
Too soon, man. Too soon.
Too soon. Yeah, too soon.
oh.
You mean
I
too
was
soon,
just-
Thomas? You mean too soon, like it hurts too much, or too soon, like it might be okay with Bond?
Both.
Yes.
Yes. Exactly.
I mean, I was just happy they didn't draft McCorkle. Once they didn't draft McCorkle, I gave it an A+.
Yeah, I mean, I hate him, Mac Jones, also, and I think that's the big thing. Besides having all 2022 picks, which is a win, not having Mac Jones on the roster is the biggest thing to celebrate here.
I mean, I did gamble an extensive amount of money. I was such in a panic. I was like, if the Saints are going to have Mac Jones on the team, Selly, go to the window at Vegas and put a ton of money on the Saints plus 1,100 to draft a quarterback first. And that blew up in my face. But I feel good about it. Like I'd rather just lose a couple $100 on that than have Mac Jones be the Saints quarterback. Like $2,500 really wouldn't have eased my pain that much.
I mean, the Patriots got Mac Jones. Belichick took him. You don't think that you don't think the Patriots are going to be able to make something out of Mac Jones?
Well, if he's good, he'll be the first Alabama quarterback that's worth a damn in 40 years. So let the Patriots.
Wait. Hang on. Is the implication being that Joe Namath was worth a damn?
Yeah, I think
Yeah, but
he's the last one.
he won a Super Bowl, but that was before. That was like 1960.
Okay, I tell you what. I'll say he was the last quarterback out of Alabama to accomplish anything in the NFL, because you're not going to convince me Joe Namath was worth a damn, because he's not. He's overrated.
Wow, shots fired.
Shots fired at Notre Dame.
I gotta
at
say,
Namath.
I hate the whole like, oh, he's going to the Patriots. He's going with Bill Belichick. You don't trust Bill Belichick to figure it out. I hate that. Like, it completely ignores the reality that the Patriots have been god awful, at drafting since 2016. Like, you go look at every single one of their drafts since 2016. They are terrible. How was Cam Newton last year? How did Belichick do with Cam Newton last year? All right, like, great coach. The Patriots have obviously had a lot of success, but I don't think that just because we're resting on the laurels of everything that he did with Tom Brady, we can just assume that he's going to transform Mac Jones. I mean, let's talk about Bill Belichick's
McCorkle.
top picks.
Call him by his proper name.
2016, Cyrus Jones, bust. His top pick in 2017 was Derek Rivers. He played 19. He had 2.5 sacks in his career.
Who the fuck is
then
Derek Rivers?
exactly.
Exactly.
First round picks in 2018, he had 2 of them. He drafted Isaiah Wynn, played 18 games in his career, has done nothing, and Sonny Michel, kind of a bust. I mean, he's a rotational back that doesn't do a whole lot. First round pick in 2019, N'Keal Harry. Are we ready to call him a bust? I think so.
Who?
Busty.
Yep, exactly. First pick in 2020, Kyle Duggar.
What?
Hasn't done anything.
Wait,
Garbage.
from that show?
Yeah,
One of the Duggars?
I don't know. He went to Lenore Ryan College, so that's part of your problem right there.
One of the Duggars? No, wait a minute. I don't think this is fair. I mean, one of the things about the Patriots is that they get so many draft picks every year. I mean, I'm looking at 2020 and they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They had 10 picks. I'm looking at 2019. They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 picks. I'm looking at 2018. They had 9 picks.
All these guys suck. All these guys suck.
Well, I'm just there's no way that I mean that's 29 players right there. There's no way that all those players are going to wind up sucking. There's just no way.
Their
And
hit rate since 2016 is at the bottom of the NFL, dead last.
Okay,
Dead
but
last.
they also have the most picks. So in a way, it probably winds up working out just the same. If you hit on 3 picks out of 9, that's
Okay. Look at this list again since 2016. Name me one player on this list that is
yeah, I know. No,
Ryan
I know.
Ramczyk, Alvin Kamara, Marcus Williams. Like this is a bunch of Alex Anzalone. Their hits are Alex Anzalone's at best. Why are you defending? Why are you defending them, Dave?
Don't
Why am I
defend.
defending them?
Don't
Like
defend
maybe Mac Jones will be
Belichick, the
good.
MILF,
Maybe he will
the
be. But
MILF.
I'm just saying the Patriots are not good at drafting. Let's not assume.
I don't know. Maybe I'm defending them because I feel like the Patriots go about drafting, the scientific way, the mathematical way, and I can't get over the fact that there's no way that science doesn't win over love. Science always wins over love. Love is just an emotion. Science is facts, man.
Kevin, do you at least feel a little bit good about the Saints in that they clearly have embraced whatever the hell Raz
They
score
have.
is?
I mean, well, look. I'm sorry to interrupt, Kevin, but I mean, like, it is obvious that like the Saints have. This echo is driving me nuts. By the way, it's obvious that the Saints have.
It's your echo, Dave, by the way.
Well, if I'm the only one that's hearing it, great.
No, I think
'cause,
that's Kevin.
But I mean, it's just like so obvious that the Saints have a formula. They have a method. Like every year, it's the same thing. Every year, when it comes to the 4th round or the 5th round or whatever, they're going to trade 2 of their same picks in that round to draft, to get their guy. For the most part, I think they're going to kind of stay put and let the draft come to them. They're going to draft people. They're going to take guys that are not the pick that you think they're going to make, because you value, just because all the experts say mock this guy at 28, we're not going to pick that guy. I mean, it's the same shit every year. I mean, there's definitely a feel. There is a feel to the Saints draft, and over the last 2-3 years. It has been that same feel. You can definitely feel it. Tell me I'm wrong. I'm not wrong.
Well, I mean, I just feel like, Kevin, it's weird in that the Saints clearly have embraced something about analytics. Like they love their RAS score. They drafted only person that had below a 9 was Ian Book. So they've embraced a ton of analytics, but they won't trade down.
Well, this RAS score shit drives me nuts. Like this. I know. Last podcast, you told me the whole RAS score thing has been around for a long time, since the 80s or whatever, and you're giving me RAS score numbers for people, for Saints players back in the 80s or whatever. But like, no, this shit came out of nowhere. We were never talking about RAS scores last year. And I don't remember.
But we are now.
I understand that, Tomas. Okay, but like last year, like Andrew, I don't remember Andrew ever referencing RAS scores in
You
his.
killed. We were definitely talking about Rascore last year.
I don't remember that last year, and before last year, 2 years ago, I damn well sure
Hey,
don't remember anybody
Tomas,
talking
check
about.
the timestamp on this.
I don't remember anybody talking about RAS. To me, this whole RAS score thing just has come out of nowhere. Has just poof, has just been created out of thin air as something. And like nobody else mentions this. Nobody else talks about this.
That's right.
Like
That's
this
right.
Is the only
That's the
place.
thing.
This is the Saints Happy Hour podcast. Is the only place where I hear about RAS score and how important it is and what it means. And like I understand that there's a score, and I understand that the Saints scouting department, they put a score on every player, and they use this score to determine who they're going to draft. I saw that chart that Thomas put up. It was all green with the exception of the one yellow, and everybody that they draft has to have this one RAS score. I get what it is, but what I'm saying is that like this was never something that was ever discussed from the year 2018 and prior. Nobody ever talked about this when they were talked about the draft or analyzing or analytics or any of that.
Well, but here, that's a good point, though. The thing is, Kevin, the nerds and Twitter that we've gotten into RAS, and if you
guys have just made this shit up. And to be honest with you, if I'm being honest with you, it's almost like you guys made this shit up to defend what the Saints are doing and to to
make it
to make it so that the Saints are never wrong. It's like, oh yeah, no, they got a good guy here, they got a good guy here, they got a good here, because this was their RAS score. This is what they came up with. Well, I don't want to hear it.
You don't want to hear it.
I know. I want to see what the guy. What was How was Anzalone's RAS score? Was Anzalone a good RAS score?
It's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, great. Well, that worked out fucking great. Okay.
But
so
it doesn't.
The RAS score, my point is, the RAS score isn't the fucking end all be all. You guys are all treating the RAS score like it's the fucking Bible. Okay.
No,
like it was written by Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Okay. Neither of them created the RAS score.
This comes from the heart.
I don't even know where to start with this.
Wasn't John 3:16 about your 3-cone drill?
I mean, you've asked Kevin a question twice now, and Dave hasn't let him say a fucking word. So, like,
you said it was going to be a long podcast.
When do I speak here? I don't know.
You don't.
Why don't we just go to Kevin?
Dave takes over the show.
Now. Yeah.
Well, no, but here's the thing, Kevin. I think Dave makes a really good point. Is that like ESPN and the NFL Network and like all these. They don't talk about RAS. Like RAS is a completely draft nerd thing, and
I've never heard. Look, we all know
Thank you, Kevin.
that.
Thank you, Kevin.
We all know that I don't pay a lick of attention to the draft.
What?
Beyond just seeing shit on Twitter.
All this time?
Yeah, Juge, your fake shocked face is nowhere near as good as your genuine, I can't believe the Saints reached for a fucking third round prospect with their first overall pick. It's not as good as that. My point is that even when I was paying attention to the draft, even when I was loosely following shit on Twitter, I don't ever recall seeing RAS in years past. I really don't.
It's
I really don't.
This came out of nowhere. 2 years ago at the most, at the longest.
Yeah.
Like I hear people talk about 40s, your bench press, your fucking Wonderlic score. I hear people talking about, did the guy what was the guy's parents like? Was his uncle wounded in a tragic bass fishing accident? What I hear about all this other shit, all this other random stuff, where they get like Tom Rinaldi and the soft music, or it's Rich Eisen and some violins playing out the commercial after some guy gets drafted 5th overall and his dad has a drinking problem or something. I hear all about that. Nothing about RAS.
Okay.
Nothing about RAS.
It's a Nick Underhill thing, right?
Can I explain it to
I
you
love
guys?
Nick Underhill. Nick Underhill's great, but this RAS shit is brand fucking new, and we shouldn't be acting like it's goddamn sacrosanct at this point. Look,
It's
maybe
nerd
in 10
nonsense,
years,
what it
maybe in 10 years, we will look back and Raz will be this tremendous thing that everybody uses, and it's common knowledge, and it's part of the draft day vernacular for everybody. Every schmuck on the planet says, "Oh, well, what was his Raz? What was his Raz?"
Right.
And they're not talking about the
As
free
far
cone
as-
drill or the
as
Wonder
far
Lick or
as-
whatever. It's about the Raz. And look, I got no problem looking like an idiot. No problem with that, clearly.
Clearly.
But don't tell me that the Raz is important when nobody fucking knows what it is outside of draft nerds. I haven't even seen Mel Kiper talk about it.
To me,
Hey,
Raz
Tomas,
is
check the
still,
timestamp on this.
to me, Raz is still the blue favor of now and laters.
Dave hates Raz so much he's dropping candy references. But here's my thing. I'm with Kevin and Dave about I don't
Oh,
really give a
wow.
shit.
Wow.
I don't really give a shit about it, Andrew. But here's the thing.
Sounds like you're
like-
on an island all by yourself, Juge. Yeah,
But here's
enjoy
the thing,
you and your
Andrew.
Raz score.
Here's the thing. Like, I never said it works. I never said it's like at the end all be all. It's not like I care. Like, this is the Saints draft strategy, and we came into this. And if you read all the articles that I wrote, which are, a lot of them are educated by what I've been told, and Nick Underhill's part of that. And, you look at the Saints value athletic skills. And
If
that's
you
what
don't
the
have a
Raz does.
9
It
Raz, they
combines
don't want
all-
you.
The Raz combines all the athletic thing, the 40 time, your height, your weight, everything. It combines it all and it spits out a score with all that stuff aggregated. And it's been clear so when Jeff Ireland came in 2015 and 2016, they overhauled the whole scouting department. And Ireland basically created a method for the Saints to start drafting. And since then, they've had a lot of success. And so that's where the Raz score came from. Okay, they've had a lot of success. What's their draft policy? Like, what are they doing, and why are they doing it this way? And so, sure, it might blow up it might blow up in their face at some point. But when you go into this draft saying the Saints only draft guys that have high Raz scores, and then they go into this draft and every dude they picked is above a 9, it kind of validates the whole
Well, no,
whole deal.
no.
Like, it's
Drew-
clearly how they draft, right or wrong.
Drew
Like,
Brees-
I don't know. Time will tell, but like, it's obviously what's happening. Like,
well,
just
wait a second.
look at
Andrew.
these guys' Raz. Look at this Raz score of every dude they picked, and it's
Except for Ian
that's
Book.
how
Are you
the
saying?
Saints roll.
Are you saying Ian Book's mole is worth 2 points of Raz? Because he only had 7.8.
Yes.
Well, so
Yes,
there's
that
there's
is worth
only
2 points of
there's
Raz.
only 2 quarterbacks that had Razes over 9: Felipe Franks and I can't remember who the second guy was, but like, and the thing with quarterbacks is a lot of them don't do testing. If they're like a first round quarterback, they won't throw, they won't run, because they know they're going to be a top pick, so they don't want to damage their hierarchy, in terms of where they get picked. So Book was he was number 4 of the quarterbacks that were actually tested. So he wasn't a 9, but he was very high compared to the other guys.
I feel like Andrew dropped this on us.
You think you know, but you don't know, and you never will.
And I don't appreciate his draft nerdness.
Well, you don't
by the
have
way,
to
your
appreciate
dad
it. You
said
don't have
Andrew
to
only
like
had an
it.
8 Raz score.
Well, you don't have to like it. You don't have to appreciate it. You can find it annoying, and that's all fine. But if you want to know who the Saints are going to pick and why, that's your answer. I mean, it's just their draft system. That's
Right.
all it is.
Right.
So you can either choose to be interested in it or not. But I'm just telling you, that's how they roll.
All right, are we going through every pick, or are we just gonna give our?
I mean, we're gonna go through every pick, but the last thing on the Raz score I will say is it's not just the Saints though, because they didn't have a pick until 58 that wasn't an elite Raz score. So like the teams are doing this too. Now maybe this was like a 1-year aberration because of COVID and the Saints said they focused on clean medicals. We'll get to that in a little bit, but maybe it's a 1 year aberration or whatever. But Kevin, I feel like the nerds have taken over basketball. They've taken over baseball. I feel like they're coming for football, and I don't like it.
Look, baseball is one thing when it comes to advanced stats and metrics and all that kind of stuff, because a lot of that's been integrated into the way that the game is talked about and the way players are measured. I mean, look, batting average, home runs, RBIs, strikeouts, innings pitched, like those are still the main deals. Those are still the big things people talk about. But WHIP, VORP, slugging percentage, all, stuff like, and then the permutations beyond that. Those have become part of the discussion now. Basketball, I'm not as I'm not well versed on that.
Usage rate.
Okay, like guys have efficiency ratings. Like that's the only thing I really understand.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There's an efficiency rating. At least that's sort of, you can look at that and say, all right, here's a hierarchy, and more of the good players tend to be up higher than the bad ones. Okay, easy enough to sort of follow. With this football thing, it's like football calculations are strange in and of themselves, because biggest example, the quarterback rating. Why is 138? Why is it 138.6 or 0.5?
158.3, yeah.
That too. Okay, I had the fucking numbers right, just in the wrong order.
Yeah, that's right.
158.3. That's the perfect rating. 158.3. We might as well be talking in the goddamn metric system. Like I don't understand that. So the maybe this is the beginning of some sort of data analytical revolution in football, and this is just where it's headed, and just we got to live with it. But again, if you can make it so it's easy to understand, and that it ultimately correlates to, okay, this guy ends up being up here, and you can look and say, okay, well, this guy's throwing a shit ton of passes, touchdowns, few interceptions, taking few sacks, and he's up here in this arbitrary number you assign versus guy down here. Okay, that's at least easy to say, I understand. I can understand that. But,
well, I'm gonna punch somebody in the dick if Andrew starts combining RAS with like on-field performance, and it comes like a giant slogan like WHIP, and it's like RAS plus minus and shit.
It's gonna be RAS plus. You watch.
Oh, it's coming. I'm already working on that for next year.
Yeah, it's the RAS DVOA.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, what's his RAS DVOA? How many positive plays versus how many negative plays did he play while he was in college?
Well, the thing is, Andrew,
compared to his hand size and the size of his penis. Okay, well, that's definitely not fixing the echo. Whatever the fuck.
Andrew, are you plugging in your guitar and you're gonna riff some Van Halen for us?
That wasn't me.
Like the beginning of Back to the Future.
But the one thing I will say about a lot of football, quote unquote, analytics is it's still grades masquerading as numbers. At least RAS, like, there's no opinion in it. It's just a mashup of all the underwear Olympic scores, and it's a pure number.
Right.
So that I do like. Like, I don't like PFF where they're like, these are our grades, and these statistics, and it's really just their opinions on plays, which some of them are good, some of them don't have a clue as to what they're watching. So at least
that's my thing. Like, I pay attention to like Tulane and the Tulane guys, and so like Tulane had a pro day. Cam Sample, Patrick Johnson, Ben Knutson, whatever. And I listen to a Tulane podcast, and they interview these guys, and basically they say, look, 80% of this is already on tape. They already have your tape. They've already watched everything from your past season, your past 2 seasons, whatever. A lot of them kind of had the attitude like the whole draft process, the Senior Bowl, the combine, that whole thing, the interviews, all that kind of stuff, the visits. It's almost like that's just a task, and they just want to see how well you handle that specific task. It's not necessarily how good of a football player or whatever you are. It's just like, how well do you handle this whole process? How well do you handle the interview process? How well do you handle, being tested on your pro day or at the combine or whatever, in these one-off situations. So, that's the one thing that annoys me about the RAS score is like, from what I understand, I don't think it's taking anything into consideration as far as what they've been putting on tape during the season.
Jameis's RAS score was 4.25.
Oh my God!
Brady was
That's just starting
0.46.
quarterback. Well,
That's before or after LASIK?
Yeah, he did bad on the eye test.
Yeah, Taysom was 9.958.
But that
So
makes
let's
sense,
get-
right? But I mean, right? That makes sense, right? It makes no prediction about how they're going to be as football players. It's just saying, I think we all know that Taysom Hill is supremely athletic, right? Great
Mhm.
arm, very powerful, very fast. Like, doesn't surprise me that on an athletic testing scale, Taysom Hill is off the charts. It also doesn't surprise me at all that Tom Brady did terribly. He's really slow. He's not that athletic. He's not, and still a great player. And so, yeah, I think that's where this system is like, you're going to miss out on Tom Brady in the system. The way they draft, the way
Dave,
the
I got a
Saints draft,
question.
they're not going
Where-
to pick a guy like Tom Brady.
Dave, where's the puppet and what's his RAS?
I know. I saw that question on the live thing. I don't know what he did with it. He's not in the playroom, so he might have brought him up to his bedroom or something.
Hey, he's sleeping with that thing?
No, I don't think so. I certainly would not want that thing.
That
in my
would be
bedroom.
terrifying.
I don't know. He might be in the closet. I'm not going to get up and look. He might be in that closet. But,
That's even worse. He's in his closet.
What was his name? Charlie. What did I say his name was? He has a name.
Charlie
What's
Brown.
his- no. What's his RAS score? He has no knees, so I don't think his RAS score would be very good.
He doesn't have a clean medical. He doesn't
Still
have
better than
Yeah,
Jameis.
he's off the board. He's
Yeah.
off the board.
Yeah, there's 0 cartilage in his knees, so I think that's a problem. Also, he's also limited by how far and fast I can run, which is
right.
which is not good.
He does have elite creep factor though.
Yeah. Oh, but he's bendy as
Shocking
shit,
factor.
though.
Yeah.
That motherfucker can bend like nobody's
bendy.
business. Oh
Yeah.
my God, nobody's
So-
bendier than this guy.
So I want to get to. We'll break down every pick, but before we
Yeah,
break down every
Let's do
pick,
that. Let's do that.
and Andrew did a write up for the patrons about how Turner his video is good, his RAS score is good, but Thomas, fire up Andrew's true reaction to the Peyton Turner pick, so the people can know that
Yeah,
he's
no,
spreading
he was doing
lies.
it right
the
there. It
day
looked like he was
after.
doing it right there. He
Yeah.
was doing the impression right there.
Fire it
There
up,
it is, there it is. He's
Thomas.
doing it right
This
now.
draft day
Show
has been
Look
completely
at that. Look at that. Being
utterly
petrified in my
stressful
face.
for me.
Look
There
at
was
my-
a
oh my
moment where I
God.
really
Oh
thought,
my God. Oh my God. I know the pick.
all right,
I love it. I love it. I
What's
love
the
it.
pick?
Peyton Turner, defensive end, Houston.
Okay, look. So Andrew, and you're defending this like you're like
He's
this was your
119 on my board.
yeah. This was your initial honest reaction, and now you're trying to talk yourself out of it.
Of course.
When you know it was a bad pick. It was a
Kevin,
bad
I
pick.
don't know that. I don't
It
know
was
that.
I want to
bad
go to Kevin. Kevin,
I
I
just
think
think
Andrew,
Not a
all
good
his analytics, and I'm above it, and I'm not emotional, and I'm even keel. It's all lies. Tell the people that it's all lies and agree with me that Andrew's no better than you and me and Dave. He's an emotional wreck at his truest form. Tell the people this.
Yeah,
True.
look, Dr. Spock used to claim that he valued logic over emotion, but we all know Dr. Spock had had emotions in him. All right,
He was
we all know
flawed.
that. He was human like the rest of us. What's funny to me is people on Twitter talking themselves into Peyton Turner. Oh no! This guy, he could be a starter. He could,
I think everybody.
This will work itself out. It could be okay. It should be okay. It will be okay. And yet, for some reason, the team drafting a fucking quarterback in the 4th round. That was a fucking waste of a pick. That was dumb. That was stupid. That was pointless.
Well, I was gonna say that I thought that as pissed as people were about Peyton Turner, there was a quick, as there was for me, there was a quick turnaround of okay, like maybe he can be a good player and talk myself into it. But Ian Book in the 4th round, Kevin, you're absolutely right. That was the one
People
that was
lost
kind
their
of
fucking mind.
Yeah, Saints Twitter melted down. There was no coming back from that. There was no talking yourself into Ian Book for most
All
Saints
right.
fans.
Okay, hang on. Let me go on my thing here because now I'm going to try and defend this in a manner of speaking. In our pre-show
Is Kevin
meeting.
frozen?
Yeah, I'm frozen for right now. It should work itself out in a
Your
second.
audio's fine though.
That's fine. In the pre-show meeting, Dave was talking about, this guy is going to be the next Garrett Grayson. The next Garrett Grayson. Let's see. Ian Book played 4 years at Notre Dame. Garrett Grayson played his fucking college football at Colorado State. I'm looking at the QBR. ESPN has college football QBR going back to 2004. I could only find 1 year of QBR on Garrett Grayson. That QBR was 69.4 in 2014. That was his last year playing college football.
Look at Kevin.
69.4. That is good. Hang on. No. I'm not done. That's good. That's good for 32nd. Good for 32nd.
What are you
Now,
doing here?
compare that.
Are you defending the pick? Are you
What's his
defending the
RAS
pick?
score?
Yes, I'm defending the pick.
All right.
Defending the pick.
All right.
QBR
right.
for
You're an idiot. but
QBR
I'll let
for
you-
Ian Book. Ian Book's QBR as a senior last year in 2020, 84. Tied with Trevor Lawrence, the number 1 overall pick. Okay, maybe that was a high for him. All right, that was his high. 2019, Ian Book,
I'm playing the X-Files.
76.3 in 2019. 2018, Ian Book's QBR, 80.1. All of those, maybe I don't know numbers so good, but all those numbers seem higher than that number that I quoted for Garrett Grayson. So let's dismiss that right there, that he's not the next Garrett Grayson.
No, I'm not.
Ian Book should be able to come in and at the very least, compete to have a spot on the roster. I am not saying that this is the guy that we should turn the keys over to him. No. But Ian Book has played. Notre Dame still fucking plays USC. They still play Michigan. They still sometimes play Michigan State. They played Georgia last year. They are playing ranked teams. Ian Book does play some tough fucking competition. He does play tough competition. Notre Dame still consistently finishes high in the college rankings. Last year they finished 5th. They beat Clemson last year the first time they played. They barely lost to Georgia. They ended up losing to Clemson in the ACC championship game, and then they got boat raced by Bama in the college football championship thing. Okay, but Ian Book, at the very least, as a 4th round pick, as a guy they're going to take a flyer on and can bring him to camp and see what he does, I'm perfectly fine with that.
All right. Well,
I'm perfectly fine with that. I think the reason that I'm so into defending Ian Book is because of all these fucking weirdos on Twitter who say, "Oh, we drafted a quarterback. We drafted Ian Book in the 4th round. What a waste of a pick." But woo, 3rd round projected pick is our first pick overall. Yeah, he's gonna go to the Pro Bowl. Woo!
Wow.
All you motherfuckers were making the same face Juge was making, like the rest of us were making, like what the fuck? And now, you know, and look, it's not like it's the Saints fans only. Every fucking fan base does it. We're just trying to talk ourselves into
That's half the fun of the
Peyton-
draft. Talking
right. I get it. That's part of the fun of the draft. But it's one thing to talk yourselves into, this guy could still be good, and it's another thing to fool yourselves. Don't fool yourselves into declaring that this guy is going to be really good just because you want to talk yourselves into giving him a chance just because the Saints fucking reached for him.
Right, well, first of all,
And if you want to be mad at somebody, be mad at the Saints for reaching.
First of all, I think your comparison between the two is fine. I think that's valid. Somebody in the chat said that what Garrett Grayson's RAS score was what was it, an 8.38. No, but look, you like
Kevin is a Ian Book truther. I didn't see it coming.
the whole yeah, I am surprised you didn't mention anything about the mole / birthmark or whatever on his
We'll
face.
get to that. We'll get to that.
But like, you're just he's a 4th round quarterback. Like, I feel like when it comes to quarterback, you're either drafting them in the top 10 or you're taking a flyer like in the 6th or the 7th round. But when you draft them in the 4th round, it's like this. It's a weird position to draft a quarterback, in my opinion. Like the 4th round is a weird time to take a quarterback, because it's a high enough round where, you know, maybe you could actually find some value. It's a respectable enough round where, like, you could actually a starter. It's not so crazy to think that a starter could come out of the 4th round.
Russell Wilson was picked in the 3rd.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No. Well, I mean, Alvin Kamara was 3rd. I mean, there's tons of players that have been picked in the middle round, but it's just like he's not. I don't know. I just don't think that this guy is. I just don't. I don't think he's the guy. I just don't see it. I just really don't.
I'm not, and that's the thing is, I'm not saying.
Dave? Based on what?
I'm not saying he's the guy. I'm just saying he should be able to come into camp and compete and be given a fair shake for that.
He isn't
Okay,
a
wow,
draft.
Dave just
I want to hear Dave explain why Ian Book isn't going to be a good football player.
Hey, look. Just like anything that I ever say on this podcast, none of this is based much in facts or evidence or RAS score, but it's based on eye test and gut instinct.
How much tape have you watched
on Ian Book?
Yeah,
I don't give a shit how much tape I've watched. Which
is none, right? You don't give a shit about how much tape.
I
you
don't
watch,
take into
which
account
is none.
shit. All I
Andrew, people that are listening to this podcast are not expecting me to be giving them X's and O's. Like, that's your job. That's what you're here for, okay?
Hey,
People
Dave.
on this that are listening to this
I'm
podcast.
just trying to understand why you think he sucks.
wait a minute. Well, hang on though. But I have a question. Though.
Notre
So
Dame.
you
I have an answer.
say you're relying on gut feeling. How much of your gut is filled with candy right now?
A lot of it. A lot of it.
Okay.
A lot of it is nougat and high
Not
fructose
enough.
corn syrup filled.
Okay.
What am I basing
Yellow
it
dye
on?
number 5.
I'm
Yeah.
basing it on the fact that we went through this whole
He needs
draft
some
process.
probiotics, Kevin.
No, I'm basing that on the fact that we went through this whole draft process, this whole mock draft process, and this guy was never listed in the top 2 rounds or whatever, and he didn't get drafted in the top 2 rounds. So he was obviously not considered to be a top tier quarterback coming out
Okay.
of college by
So Mel
quote,
Kiper doesn't
unquote,
like him,
expert.
and Mel Kiper's your guy.
not
Is
not
that-
just Mel Kiper, but you had how many quarterbacks did you have get drafted before him? You had the first round where you had four 5 quarterbacks get taken, and Ian Book wasn't even in consideration to be one of those 4 or 5 quarterbacks. So he's obviously on a secondary level. He is not on the top level as these other guys who got drafted in the first round. He is obviously at the very best. He is at the secondary level of quarterback talent. And my point is, of course you agree. You have to agree because it's a goddamn fact. And so my point is once you're at that secondary level, you know, it's more about. Look, let me tell you something. Here's what I'll say. Here is what I will say. I will go on record. Tomas, check the timestamp on this. If Ian Book becomes a great NFL quarterback, it's going to be because of his. It's going to be the same thing as Drew Brees and Russell Wilson and all that. It's going to be because of his heart and his work ethic and his moxie
and the birthmark,
and of course the fucking birthmark or mole or whatever that is. We need to get somebody. We need to get Amy Just or somebody, Cat Terrell. I don't know what you guys are doing, but we need to figure out what the fuck that is on his face right now and how it compares to Drew Brees.
Hey, Tomas, check the timestamp on this.
I need advanced analytics on moles and birthmarks.
That's right.
The top 10 greatest NFL players with moles and birthmarks.
I can't wait till we talk about linebacker boy.
Well, linebacker boy, we'll get to him. I mean, he fills the Saints' fetish of both Raz and drafting Ohio State players.
Oh yeah, this is going to work out real great.
Have the Saints ever had a good Ohio State linebacker? We got C. Grant, Rick Middleton, James Laurinaitis.
Like we've circled the birthmark areas there. No. So I mean, yeah, Pete Werner, linebacker. Good news, bad news. I'm going to give you the good news first. Good news is Pete Werner is going to be an all-pro linebacker. Bad news, it's going to be 4 years from now after the Saints get rid of him and he's traded to another team or he's let go by the Saints and he's signed by another team like the Patriots and they turn him into a good linebacker. Their history has said there is no goddamn way in hell. He has zero chance of being a good player on the Saints team, Pete Werner. No, there's no way that he is going to be a good linebacker on the Saints. It's just not.
Rob Ninkovich.
Nope.
Feel to him.
Yes, exactly.
I was gonna say it's just a little Scott Shanley.
No, it was
Scott Shanley. Did he have an elite Raz score?
Yeah, what was Scott Shanley's Raz score?
I could find that out for you if you really want to know.
I'm curious.
The rest of the draft picks are kind of meh. The Kentucky tackle, the wide receiver from South Alabama, he had like awesome highlights of like breaking tackles. But
and then the cornerback, and then we picked the cornerback, and then of course it's like
Colton.
Yeah, and he's the guy who got injured and his season ended in 2018 or 2019. Then he opted out of the 2020 season, so he hasn't played football in a year and a half. Like typical Saints draft pick. Like we can't just pick a normal fucking guy. Can we just pick a normal fucking player who's played a normal amount of games for a normal fucking goddamn team? Like this is. It's just like every guy. We're always banking on the upside. Marcus Davenport, it was like, oh, well, he's a raw talent. We're banking on him being able to be coached up. Okay?
Should we give benefit of the doubt to the fact that they've been kick-ass draft since like 2016? They've been killing it.
Again, you say kick ass, and that means 53%. That means out of 10 picks, they hit on 5.3 of them.
But that's the NFL.
Number one in the league.
That's good in the NFL, though, Dave. It isn't
number one in the league.
But it's hard to feel. It's hard to get that kick-ass feeling when the kick-ass feeling is only hitting half of your draft picks. You know what I mean?
But
it's
that's
like
better than everyone else.
I get it. No, I get what you're saying. But still, when you're watching the Saints and they're the only draft picks that you're watching, and they have 10 draft picks and they only hit on 5, and so you watch them piss away 5 draft picks. Yes, compared to the rest of the league, that's great. But when you're watching it, you're like, well, God, what the fuck? Why can't they get 7 out of 10? Or why can't they get 8 out of 10? Like
Dave,
5 out of 10, you're still watching it. It still sucks.
But Dave, you're talking about like Baseball, you're like, well, the dude batted 350, but 6.5 times out of
No,
10 he
you're
gets out.
talking
I
about
mean,
baseball. No, that's what you guys are saying. You guys are saying, no, you can still only hit on 50% of your picks, and you're still a great drafting team.
That's
You're-
it, though. But it's
you're
true.
saying
Like,
you're making the baseball
nobody else
argument.
can. There's nobody ever that hits on like 70% of their draft picks. Like, it
No, I
doesn't.
know. I'm the
It
asshole.
doesn't
who's-
happen.
I'm the asshole who's saying, well, Ted Williams hits 400. Well, that means he misses 6 out of his 10 fucking. That means he strikes out 6 out of 10 times.
What a way to live life.
That's.
Dave is a
Nougat and
municipal
pessimism.
can't-eating
That's Dave
bastard.
Cariello.
I mean, the rest of the draft picks, like the corner. Here's the thing, though, Andrew. Like, of all the draft picks that the Saints did, I feel like that corner that they traded up for, Paulson Adebu, like he's the one that's got to work. Like he's got to be a contributor and like close to being an average corner for the Saints to be really good in 2021. Like we can argue about Turner and Warner and whoever. Like the corner is the one that matters.
Yeah, and
he's the guy.
unfortunately to me, of all those, he's the least finished product. Like he's the rawest of the picks they've taken. Like, he's the guy that's going to need the most coaching up and see. Like, he has obviously tremendous potential because they're all tremendous athletes, and as their scores suggest, they all tested very high, so they're all tremendously athletic. But to me, he's the least polished of all their picks, and so they're going to have to. I don't know how quickly they'll get him up to speed, so that is a concern.
Yeah, now we get people in the chat room. More importantly, Fredo asks, who is your house favorite for 2021 or 2021 UDFA Sun? We got the draft coming up, right? We got to do the draft, the list of them.
Are we going to get the
Dave, you
patrons
want-
in on this year?
The patrons want to have their own UDFA draft. Dave, you're picking last because you won. I think the draft order will be Kevin, me, Andrew, Dave.
I had Keith Washington. Kevin had Tony Jones. Tony Jones played in a game. He had a carry. So Kevin is behind me.
Hey, what about me?
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
we should
yeah,
get
Thomas.
Thomas on this year.
We can have you in the UDFA draft. What Throckmorton? He
But
never
Thomas, you go to
played.
the back of the line, man. You're the new guy.
No,
so you pick
I'm
last.
number one.
No, that's
You're
not
number
how it
one.
works.
He's
I'm the
expansion.
new
He's
franchise. Hey,
That's
Right? I
not
mean,
how it
yeah,
works.
that would be
the
fair.
expansion draft.
It's true. Yeah.
I mean, the
All right,
leader
so-
in the clubhouse for the UDFAs has got to be Trill Williams, like because he had the half meet around.
There's all
I gotta do my
I'm
research.
actually I forget his name, but there's a punter, and so
There
like
is.
he's got a 50-50 shot of being the punter. So like that's a sneaky, pretty good pick.
Mhm.
Yeah, Ralph, maybe you should take the punter.
I'm gonna do. We'll pick them next week. I gotta do my research this week. I gotta decide.
Oh, we gotta do. No. We got the UDFA draft. We gotta
Oh, we
we
got
gotta have a
time.
couple
We got
weeks
more
of
time.
camp.
Alright.
We can't.
So the
I
draft.
need to
order-
learn about their personal lives. Like if somebody's got a really awesome personal story, then I gotta go with them.
So the question is, Ralph, who between you and me? You had Throckmorton who never
6'7",
played. I had Keith
321.
Washington who
Jeez.
never played. They were both free agents, right? So
Yeah.
or they were both UDFAs that made the practice squad but never made the elevation
think
to the regular
I
roster.
think it's like NFL, right? We have to flip a coin. We have to flip a coin
Yeah.
and see.
So Thomas goes first, then we flip a coin between the two of us. Kevin goes fourth, Dave goes fifth.
yeah,
Tony Jones
Dave-
played a game. So congrats, Kevin, for that.
Dave with a sneaky win. I gotta say,
Hey, what can
I
say?
should have picked Callaway. Damn it.
so Thomas, as I look at this list, I'm sorry, I've managed to butcher the
As
rundown, even though
always, as always.
we spent an hour, but it's not totally my fault. I don't.
Sure
The
it
one
is.
thing I want to say is, of all the draft picks, if I had to ask you Andrew, I'll ask you this question because you do the most work on it. If I had to, if I said to you, one of these draft picks is going Rick Leonard or Al Woods, and they're going to get cut, and they're not making the roster, who would you tell me would not make the roster?
Well, Ian of the draft picks, right?
Yeah.
Well, Ian Book to me is interesting because remember they do have Trevor Siemian on this roster, and he's a guy that has started in the league. He actually went 9-7 as a starter one year as a full-time starter with the Broncos, and now they had a tremendous defense, a world-class defense, and he was not very good, but he's been a starter in the league and he's experienced. So like he's fighting for a job, and like I just don't think Siemian's just gonna roll over and die and just give him the job, the number 3 quarterback job. So it'd be interesting to see because Book is not going to just be handed the number 3 spot, and the Saints will keep 3 QBs, and I could see Siemian outplaying Book and the Saints deciding, you know what, we're going to throw Book on waivers and try to get him on the practice squad. So
Right. So you agree with me when I said earlier that Ian Book was a stupid draft pick in the 4th round?
No, I don't. I don't agree with that. I'm totally fine with it because the Saints have every other quarterback on their roster is on a 1-year deal, and you know he could easily be Chase Daniel, where he's a backup for 10 years. And I don't think Ian Book's ever going to be like a productive starter, but he could be Chase Daniel.
Well, and I mean, and you know what, Andrew? But that's like the point, like what you just said right there. That's the key point. Like nobody needs to be thinking like Ian Book was drafted to be the fucking heir apparent to Drew Brees. Like that is so far from I think what the Saints have in mind, or what I think I think the Saints front office, the coaching staff, whatever, I think they're thinking like, yes, best case scenario, we threw a dart and we landed on bullseye. But I don't think that they don't put the whole, just because of the timing of this whole situation and Drew Brees' retirement, don't put that on Ian Book, and don't put those expectations and those requirements or whatever on Ian Book, because that's not what he's here for. That's not what he was brought in for.
At least not yet. Yeah.
No.
What he develops into, we'll see. But yeah, for now.
Yeah. And I think, I think they drafted him because they say they see something in him, but I certainly don't think, obviously, that they think that he's for sure 100% supposed to be the next man up.
I want him to be, because Kevin can take a giant victory lap over all of us, and that would be amazing.
But Ralph, to answer your question, who's not going to be on this? It's Pete Werner. There's no way that line. There's no way that the linebacker is still going to be on this team in 3 years or whatever.
No, I'm talking about when I say Al Woods.
History
or
is
Rick
just
Leonard,
history.
I mean make the roster this year, Dave. I mean like, holy crap!
Still Pete
I
Werner.
can't believe they just cut
Do you think
that
they're going
guy.
to cut their 2nd-round pick?
Dude, my point is like, out of all the draft picks that they picked, Pete Werner, unfortunately, like just history, like he just has to deal with some bad juju. He's just
here's the thing, though.
He just has to. It just sucks. It just
Andrew,
sucks.
Well,
that
look,
people-
the Saints filled their Ohio State quota, if nothing else.
Right.
Here's
there
the
you
thing,
go.
though, Andrew. Antonio Pittman got cut, 4th round pick. Rick Leonard got cut, 4th round pick. Al Woods got cut, a 4th round pick. Like, there's precedent where like
Kyrie
a high
Ford,
pick
right?
that the Saints make isn't going to make the 53 or 55 man roster for week 1. Like, I'm not saying it's likely or even going to happen. I'm just saying it can. And I was asking, give me a name.
Yeah. I'm still like, Book to me is, I mean, obviously Landon, I don't know. I think Kwan Baker to me is kind of an interesting one because he went to South Alabama and he has inconsistent hands. So you look at that and you're like, look, if you can't catch the ball and you've been playing against some weak competition.
Oh, that's what I wanted to say.
That's what Dave's wife says.
This
No.
could be a non-starter. But you watch his tape, and he looks like Deebo Samuel. I don't know if you know Deebo Samuel, the 49ers receiver, who's kind of feels like a running back playing receiver. That's what this guy is. And you get the ball in his hands on the jet sweeps. If defenses forget he exists, like Traquan Smith, like he's going to do a lot of damage after the catch. So I don't know what to think of this guy. It's either, to me, Baker is one of those players where it's like he'll either make the team and he's going to be really fun, or he's going to flame out really quick because he drops 4 balls on one day in camp, and they're just like, yeah, this dude's done.
I forgot what I wanted to say earlier, probably about 15, 20 minutes earlier. I don't know how much money we have in the Saints Happy Hour podcast bank account, but if we could afford a bottle of WD-40 to send to Kevin for his chair, that would be great. That would be really great.
Joke I've ever heard.
That would be great. I would love to get him some WD-40.
Is that a Dave soundbite?
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
God, that's amazing.
That's
It's
from
high
like
quality.
3 weeks ago.
Can you play that
Andrew,
again?
Come on,
It's high.
come on.
It's high quality.
Can you
That's
play
the
that again?
worst joke I've ever heard.
I love it. That is fantastic.
Courtesy of
All right.
Monadula.
I'm serious
so
about the WD-40.
Thomas, fire up the question music. Take it to the top. Let's get to listener and Twitter questions. I'm shimmying. So
Let's go.
let Thomas.
What's next?
What's next?
Okay,
right.
before we start, we'll give one of our patrons a chance to call the Saints Happy Hour studio. All you have to do is go to the general voice channel on Discord, and then the one who DMs me first will get in. You have time until we finish with the regular questions
Slide
segment.
into Tomas's DM.
Yeah, you have to slide in.
Discord.
What next?
No women allowed. Okay, first question. Just kidding.
Women are allowed. Just kidding.
Women are actually allowed.
Just kidding. Women only. If you're a dude, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Enough fucking guys in here.
First question from Twitter from Alexander Berkeley. Is Ralph able to pronounce every Saints pick? If so, why would that not make this the worst draft ever?
Well, first of all, he said it, Deebo. Every time he says it a different way. So I think that's the
Debo?
mark of a true
Debo?
Saints draft pick, when
He's just covering his ass.
Ralph just changes his pronunciation every single time. Like, he said his name 7 times. I've heard Ralph say his name 7 times now, and it's been pronounced 7 different ways. So he's casting a wide net. He's hoping that he hits on one of them.
That's right.
Yeah.
Casting a wide net is the good
Yeah.
analogy.
Throwing
dark.
shit at the wall, right?
Yeah, he's it's like diversifying his portfolio.
Right.
You know.
That's right. All right.
Next,
What next?
because I am not hearing the soundbite. Next question from Matthew Miller.
Are you gonna eat that W?
Yeah.
Is the Saints staying put in the first and second rounds the equivalent of any other NFL team trading back? Also, does not trading up indicate that Loomis wasn't being totally truthful when he said he doesn't see a lot of holes on this roster?
Kevin, you take that one. Is not trading up the new trading down for the Saints?
Again, I thought I answered this off the top.
That's
It's
right.
fine. Like it's a small win that the Saints didn't trade down or didn't trade up, and they hung on all their 2022 draft picks. But who the fuck did they take with their first pick in the draft? They did a massive reach. So, and they did it for a defensive end. That's
All right.
it.
What
That's
next?
it.
What
What
next?
Okay, next question from Bodrich. How weird is it to have the Saints keep all of the potential 2022 picks?
It's weird.
Dave, take it.
Well, I mean, we talked about it earlier. Yeah, I mean, that was. It seems like I'm going to assume that they've made a conscious effort, actually, not to give away any of their future draft picks and hold on to their 2022 draft picks. If not, just because they're anticipating to be in rebuilding mode, then maybe
Yeah,
because
you know what that says? It says we're not totally sure how bad we're going to be this year.
Yeah, I was gonna say if not because they're planning on being in rebuilding mode next year, then
Might pick
at the very
25.
least-
Might be 9th.
at the very least, to help themselves get in a better position to, maybe draft a
No,
quarterback.
but
we'll see.
Fredo makes a great point here. If at any point, if the Saints feel like they're in the mix to make the playoffs, if it becomes clear at some
Boom,
point
boom.
during the season that hey, like get us a linebacker here, get us a defensive tackle here, and we're right in the mix to win the division, you can kiss those picks goodbye.
Goodbye.
Yes.
Like if this,
Like we said, they have 10 right now. They have their full
They-
7 plus 3 compensatories. There is no way in hell right now. I am guaranteeing you, there is no way in hell that the Saints are going to have 10 2022 draft picks.
upside to that though is the trade deadline becomes fucking amazing.
What next?
Whoa, next. So the last question before someone can ask us in the studio, but I am not seeing anyone in the general voice channel, so I guess we have no women on our Discord. Okay, last question from Balky. A little while ago, I accidentally hit my hand on the ceiling fan while it was running. It didn't hurt. What? Okay, this is. I guess I messed something up because this is not a question.
Yeah, that's just
No,
Balky
yeah,
having
that's
home
fine.
improvement issues.
But it's still cool.
I mean,
guess.
I kind of love this though. So he had his Jason Pierre-Paul moment.
I think he wants to
Thank
know
you for
how.
sharing.
Well, I think maybe he wants to know. Okay, but he hit his hand on one of the blades, but one of the blades snapped off at the metal arm that attaches to the blade to the fan. So I'm assuming he's wondering what he needs to do. Can he buy a replacement blade? Does he have to buy a whole new fan? I'm assuming this is like a Hampton Bay brand fan.
How tall is Balky, by the way?
Yeah, damn.
Well, I think he was jumping, and I think he probably has.
I mean, I think he
I
has,
imagine Balky's got a trampoline, like in one of.
what if he has Peyton Turner? What if he has a Peyton Turner-esque wingspan?
Wow.
So I don't know what you can do with that. You've got to. I mean, you can definitely just replace the blade. I think Bob Vila would say you can easily. You want to be able to go to your local hardware shop and find a replacement blade.
This old house. We went from a Saints podcast to this old house.
I had one other thing. You know what? I forgot to say. I had one other thing to say about Ian Book.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Let's
go.
let's go ahead and close the book on this one.
Okay, let's close the Ian book. We
I'm
are going to
feeling
close the Ian book on this one. I feel like the one thing that everybody's been saying about Ian Book that's supposed to make everybody feel better was Underhill's tweet where Ian Book checks off all the boxes on Bill Parcells's his checklist. And you know what? On its face that sounds great, but I mean I don't know. Bill Parcells hasn't coached for 10, 15 years. You're telling me I'm supposed to feel good about this draft pick because some guy from 15 years ago thinks this was who's out of the league now thinks this was a good draft pick. I don't know. This is you're basically rationalizing this as a good draft pick because a dinosaur says it's a good draft pick, or because
to hear that.
like
But
that's
but
that's
let me get this
weak.
straight. But Bill
That's weak.
Belichick is going to make Mac Jones great, right?
Bill Belichick has
You're kind of contradicting yourself.
no, I don't think I am. Okay, I don't think I am. Bill Belichick has won a fucking Super Bowl in the last 3 years. Okay, let's put it that way.
Not without Tom Brady, he hasn't. You
I
know
don't
who
think-
has won? You know who's won a Super Bowl without Bill Belichick? Tom Brady.
I don't. That's fine. But I don't give a shit. But Bill Belichick has won a Super Bowl in the last 3
What
years.
if it was
Bill
Tom Brady all
Parcells
this time
hasn't won a Super Bowl.
making
When was
Bill
the last time
Belichick and not the other way around?
When was the last time Bill Parcells has won a Super Bowl?
I
mean,
yeah.
How many years ago was that? Okay, and that's my point. That my point is like Nick Underhill. God bless him, love him, but I feel like he's to get everybody feeling good about this Ian Book draft pick. His main argument is, this guy checks all the boxes of Bill Parcells' draft strategy for quarterbacks, and it's like, yeah, that's great, but like, it's like, that's
His mole quotient is off the chart.
like I don't.
Stop with his slant, Bill Parcells.
Can we get a Ian Book mole picture here, Thomas?
Yeah, he can bring that up, but it's just like saying like, oh, I got dating advice from Louis C.K.
Oh my God!
There it is,
Dating
there it
advice
is,
from Louis C.K.
There it is.
That's a negative, Ghost Rider.
Spot one. That's what I'm saying. You
When I
wouldn't
saw
take-
Ian Book's interview, I thought he had a black eye at first. I thought he had been punched in the face.
I don't know. I mean,
I
mole
like it
thing-
when I like it. Thomas, get the music ready to end the show. I like it.
No,
when the
wait a
podcast-
wait a second. The last one from Balky was actually a question. Check this out. Check this out. I forgot to one sentence.
Yeah.
A little while ago, I accidentally hit my hand on the ceiling fan while it was running. It didn't hurt, but it snapped off one of the blades at the metal arms that attach the blade to the fan. What kind of rascal does that get me?
Well, I think his wingspan is really long.
Yeah. Which means
I think his high RAS score here.
which means you're gonna get drafted way above where you should be really drafted.
Only by the Saints, though.
Right.
Strong back.
Well, I
he's
mean,
got
if
a
you,
good
well,
base.
yeah,
he's
but
got
if this
good
is about
balance. That probably
wingspan,
means
you're in
his
the wrong
three-cone is
sport. Go
good.
to the NBA.
Because the fan hit his fingers. He didn't fall. He's got a clean medical. No
Clean medical.
injuries. I
Metal
would
doesn't hurt
say-
him, so he's
Never-
tough.
He's never played a down of college football, but that's fine. Doesn't matter because his measurables are
9-2.
great.
9-2
measurables
RAS
are
score.
great.
Yeah,
Right,
and he stares COVID dead in the face every
That's right.
time he
That's
goes to work.
That's
So
right. But
But
he's never
Kevin, he
actually
probably
put
said
shoulder
something
pads
about
on.
intelligence. That he
I
didn't
think
remember
Mel
the fan
Kiper
was.
has him as a 5th round, but the Saints will take him in the 2nd.
That's right. It sounds about right. They'll trade 2 picks to get that.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
they'll try to
Kevin.
trade 2 picks, fail, and have to settle for taking him in the 3rd round.
Yes.
That's how that goes.
Yeah, the
This
Denver
podcast-
GM will hang up on him.
This podcast is completely off the rails in that Kevin had actual statistical data to defend the Ian Book pick, which every time Kevin does that, it just confuses the fuck out of me. Like I don't know what's going on, and I feel like I've entered into Bizarro world. Even
It's
though
like that
this
episode of The Simpsons. It's like that episode of
Yeah.
The Simpsons where the meteor is coming, and then Homer ends up correctly predicting that the meteor would burn up in the atmosphere, and everybody is suddenly terrified because of that.
It's true. It's true. it discombobulates
Quick-
wow.
me. every
Quick,
time.
quick love life.
Just
Oh, yeah.
Quick
Ralph can't
love
say anyone's
life.
name right.
Doctor update. Just quick though, Kevin. Quick. Quick.
SAR Friday evening. This was her birthday weekend, so SAR Friday evening, gave her gifts. I actually did the birthday right. Like, she was happy.
Okay. Wait. Hold on.
Have you
Hold on.
told her about the podcast?
Yeah, she knows about the podcast.
Oh, right.
Wait, how old is she turning?
37.
You gave her what as a gift? Besides the D?
So she's from Cleveland. I gave her the small gift. Gave her a magnet.
Small gift was the D. What was the big gift?
No. Hang on a minute. She's from Cleveland, so gave her a magnet with like a Cleveland Spiders logo.
Oh.
Gave her a T-shirt.
No.
Gave her a T-shirt of the old Cleveland Stadium, the Jake. And then the big gift was I bought a framed, like 3 foot by 1 foot black and white photo of London Bridge because she likes photography and she likes London Bridge.
Dave, if Kevin had given her those
Small
fat,
gift was the D.
if Kevin had given her those fat heads behind Ralph instead, would those have been better gifts?
Yes.
You could have given her a fat head of the manager from Major League.
I did give her a fat head though.
Those mini heads.
Ah.
All right.
Yeah, the joke went over all y'all's heads across the Atlantic Ocean and landed right in Poland. I'm glad Tomas got that and appreciated it. Thank you, Tomas. The check is in the mail.
This show.
We gotta end on that.
This
Oh,
show.
man.
Fire up
You
the
mean the
music.
cured
Thomas.
meats are in the mail?
That's the worst
Thomas,
joke I've ever heard.
Thomas, let me know when you get Thomas. You got your packages in the mail. You'll get your shirt and your football card probably by week 6. But fire up the music so we can
Oh
get
yeah.
out of
Well, hold on. Jason Champagne
I
says.
won't get my hopes up.
Jason Champagne did. This is great. Kevin, do you ever put on your fake British accent and drop trash and say, "London Bridge is falling down"? Oh, that's good. That's rich. That is rich.
Isolate that. Isolate Jude saying that's rich.
Hey, Tomas, check the timestamp on this.
Exactly.
This podcast is an all-time classic. It checked every box of ridiculousness and had mediocre audio to boot. This one might be an all-timer. I swear to God.
And Dave,
If we get
Chef's
nominated
kiss
for
mutes himself at the very end trying to talk.
no, if we get nominated for Louisiana Sports Podcast, this could be
This is a winner.
yeah, this could be on there. This could be like on the highlight.
We got the guy who decides. We're gonna have him as a guest. We're going all out to win that goddamn award.
Who's that? Who is that?
Raymond. How do you say his?
Parts the third.
Yeah, we're having him on. We're going all out to win that
wow.
award.
Oh wow.
So, anyway, for Dave, for London Bridges, Kevin,
Now, I like it.
for
All right.
Andrew,
My fat heads aren't the only thing that's smaller than expected.
for Thomas
Beautiful.
back in Poland, running the show, doing an amazing job. Thomas, we did a great job with the rundown. I don't care what anybody says.
I don't know about
For
that.
everybody, remember, kids, don't shoot your dick off. Until next week, the bar is closed.
Love you, Doc.